Hey beautiful souls, welcome to an episode of Am I Autistic? Yeah. Yeah. Yes, bitch. Woo, woo. So I've been thinking about my love life lately, and I've been thinking about my autism that I have diagnosed myself with, and I'm starting to think that there's a lot of unlearning that I need to do as well as society, but I can start with myself when it comes to dating norms, some social rules that I feel like I've made up, and then assumptions that I've made up that I think if I dismantle these assumptions, they can really help me live a more peaceful life. So we're just gonna dive in. I do want to start off with the self-diagnosis first, because I know that when Amanda Seales said this, a lot of people were up in arms, but I do just want to say that the American medical system fucks over Black women so much that we at this point have to diagnose ourselves because we simply don't trust. It's just like all the stories that I've shared with y'all about like going to the OBGYN and stuff like that. I hadn't gone to the OBGYN in 6 years because I had a traumatic experience in 2018. So not all medical professionals are professional. Not all medical professionals can be trusted. A lot of people will go to get tested to see if they have autism, and then they'll say, no, you don't have autism, but they very clearly identify with some of the things that come with having autism. So I just want to put that out there before I dive in. I also want to say that my official diagnosis happened after I watched the show Love on the Spectrum. So if anybody's curious about what are some things that might come with being autistic or some certain traits that you may have, I learned that it's a spectrum. So I used to think that when you were autistic, maybe you were automatically nonverbal, or maybe you didn't necessarily know how to socialize in the way that maybe a neurotypical person would. But then I learned that no, there are, and we don't like to use terms like high functioning and low functioning because that's just disrespectful to the spectrum, but there are some people who are more verbal. There are some people who are less verbal. There are some people who are really good at masking and being really social, and then there are some people who may be a little bit more awkward. Then there's me, who's a little bit of everything in between. So yeah, I just wanted to give this background before I dive in. Now let's get into my love life, limerence, and autism. Let's just get into it. So if you know me, you know that I fall fast and hard. I realized that one of the reasons why this happens so often is because I am also demisexual. And when you're demisexual, you don't really have sexual encounters with people unless you have a deep emotional connection with them. And so, this emotional connection can happen over a day. This emotional connection can be built over a couple of hours, but as long as it's an authentic, genuine connection, that's what makes it feel really, really deep and makes me really excited about it. Now, what I think has fucked me up is that in the past, I've given up my time and energy to a lot of people who didn't deserve it. So for instance, when I was on dating apps, I very much so was out here popping this cat like no other. And I was trying to have a whole phase. I was trying to explore myself and see what I liked. And I realized that a majority of my sexual experiences that I had while exploring myself were traumatic. They each left me with like one new thing that I knew I didn't want to do in the next situation. And these things kept reoccurring. My throat chakra was closed up. I wasn't emotionally connected to these people, but yet them not wanting me as much as I wanted them and my low self-esteem teamed together and were like, commence, I don't even fucking know, insanity commenced. So, when I took my celibacy break, or when I began my celibacy intentionally. So remember, I had a year of celibacy where it was not intentional and I was still trying to pop this cat and no one wanted to get tested. So it was like, okay, fine, God, I hear you got sexually assaulted twice, and the universe was like, what the fuck else has to happen, bitch, for you to sit down for a second. Now granted, the sexual assaults were nothing that I called upon myself. No one calls upon a sexual assault. These were both very random instances, but they did scar me, and I felt like I wasn't taking the time to heal. I just wanted to be distracted. So when I settled with that second year of celibacy and really felt like I gave into it, I felt like I started learning so much about myself, and I started healing so much. And I told y'all in my last podcast episode, or maybe the 2 episodes before that, I felt like I really opened up my heart recently. Within like the last 6 weeks, I want to say, like legitimately, if I do the math, it's probably like the end of March. And I will say though, bringing it back, I saw this happening, right? We're gonna talk more about this in another episode because I really want this to be about my autism, but I saw this happening because I had a conversation with a good friend, Nigel. Can you believe me and Nigel have not met in person? If you are a podcast listener, then you've probably heard conversations with me and Nigel before. But Nigel, his heart is so open, and he is so excited for a relationship, and he is so excited to give love. And I think that sparked something in me, and then that's what brought me to this video today, to say I think that there is so much love to give inside of me. And I wonder sometimes if the amount of love and like the amount of pouring into, and the songs I literally wrote a song about somebody, like the songs I write, the poems I write, like, are those all due to me being passionately in love while being a person with autism? I don't know. And I know y'all might be like, what is the correlation? And I had a correlation before I made this video, but I think it's just that I feel my emotions so deeply. And maybe it's also because I'm a sensitive, but honestly, I feel like those go hand in hand. I mean, yes, I have sensitivity to noises, I have sensitivity to light, I have sensitivity to energy, but also my emotions are very, very awakened. And even when I was putting up facades and was acting like I didn't feel anything, it didn't matter because I really was feeling something the entire time. I was just fighting it. So when my therapist told me that feelings are meant to be felt, I felt like that gave me permission to start feeling my feelings again. Because when I was younger, I felt my feelings so deeply and people demonized me for it. So I became this kind of robot where, yeah, I was still feeling feelings, but it just wasn't the same. So wrapping back around to my autism, sometimes I wonder if the way that I think that certain relationships go, right? Like there are certain people who are able to have sex with other people and not feel emotionally connected to them. There are certain people who are able to go on dates with people and they're not madly in love with this person. This person might not occupy their mind all the time, but in my head, because that's how I am, right? So if I go out on a date with somebody and I'm really feeling them, they will occupy my mind. I will come home and write a song about them the next day. I will envision my future with them and see me meeting their parents. Like I will see all of that. And so, you know, although yes, this can be a normal thing of just being in like and having a crush and you see your future with somebody, when I just see the pattern of this, I'm like, this happens a lot. So then recently, I met somebody, 2 people who actually unlocked 2 totally different things within me. And like I said, we'll talk about that in a totally different episode. I think I'm gonna actually put that on Patreon. It's just because it's personal, but these 2 people unlocked a lot within me. What was I gonna say about this? They were different than other situations that I've been in where I felt like it was limerence, because the person that I liked didn't even fucking know me. They didn't even know me. Literally, I had a crush on this guy, he's a rapper. We like met once really in person. Like he didn't know me. I was just having limerence. It was a deep, deep crush, like legit. The guy from the post office that y'all saw me posting about for fucking 2022 when I was delusional as shit. Like there's nothing wrong with being delusional. I'm here for being delusional, but it's just not, when it's not mutual, I feel like I was able to dive in even more because I knew it wasn't mutual, and I knew that I didn't have to worry about somebody stepping over boundaries or making me feel nervous because they weren't into me too. Like, he's just not that into you. That's my movie. Like, I'm very much so used to that. So when I then met 2 people that I felt like were into me and were making me feel really good about myself, it was like, hold up. All of the patterns that I once had when I was dating before, unhealthily, they gotta go. And some of my insecurities started showing up again in these situations, and that's what led me to start wondering, what is the root cause of these insecurities? And I think that one of the root causes of these insecurities is how I think about relationships and how I think about partnership and how I think about how they might communicate with other people. And then I compare it, and then I get, I guess jealous is the word. I get jealous, I get more so insecure. I don't want to be forgotten about and all this stuff and all this anxiety. But I'm like, maybe people don't always think of relationships as deeply as I do. Maybe people are able to separate, like, Atia is still a great person, I still care about Atia, but also, I liked having this experience with this person, but this doesn't take away my love and affection for Atia. Or maybe I'm getting myself prepared to be able to love Atia the way she needs to be loved, and I can't do that right now. Like, I don't know, but my autism is making me feel like maybe it's not that serious. With all that being said, as you can tell, I'm still actively working through this. Like, I really wanted to post this to get other people's opinions and to see if anyone else who has either diagnosed themselves with autism or who feel like they have autism or some form of neurodivergence, or even if you're a sensitive, empath, do you feel like you navigate love a little bit differently? It's very interesting to navigate it between like my insecurities, triggers, past wounds that I'm working on healing versus just autism, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just neurodivergence, and that's okay. But I think the bottom line that I want to say in this video is that it's okay. Like, it's okay if my thought pattern of what dating is different because I'm neurodivergent, but if it's bringing me pain, or if it's bringing me discomfort, or if I'm making assumptions that are making me feel uncomfortable or not be able to enjoy the experience that I'm supposed to have, then I mean, this is the experience I'm supposed to have. What I feel right now is what I'm supposed to be feeling because I'm supposed to work through it or not, you know? Like, I'm trying to live my life like that. Like, not everything is detrimental, not everything is bad, but I do just want to figure out, like, what are some ways that I can make my life not be so heavy right now in my mind when it comes to dating? Especially because I do keep meeting people who are not quite able to be in relationships, so I kind of have these, like, lingering emotions of excitement, and it's like, what do I do with this? Because they're not ready to be in a relationship. They just want to heal and explore. But while they're exploring, I'm here like, I'm healing too. I am, but I'm not doing the exploring part. You know, like, that's the part. Like, that's the part, and that's where being demisexual comes in. Because it's like, it's just so much. Demisexuality, fucking queer, fucking, I don't know, neurodivergent, like, it's sensitive. It's just a lot. Like, it's everything. It's everything all at one time. But at the end of the day, it's beautiful, it's divine, and that's how it's supposed to be. So, yeah, if you can relate to this, please comment and let's have a talk about this. How do you think about relationships? If somebody that you like is like actively dating somebody, how do you handle that if you're not actively dating somebody? So much to unpack, so much to say, so many thoughts. I love y'all so much. I'm so grateful to be back on YouTube, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check me out on Patreon if you want to hear some really intricate thoughts. And yeah, I love y'all. Love you.